Hello and welcome to another Mycosa's Adventures. As you can see, we've done some more hollowing out down here. Not a lot of action up top. Got each one of these, the 11 all the way back to 63 across. Gotten a bit of iron that I've been smelting. I got 16 here. I'd made 4, used 2, almost used a third. Mushrooms are growing well. I'm not going overboard, you know. Just like having mushroom stew. It's a good food source when I can't get up topside to fish. It's raining. Lovely. I've extended out a little bit here. The next thing after 11 is just groups of 4. So I was going to work on that one next. I'm mostly recording these current episodes here in a one-day stint. I've got some goals I want to meet for time frame, you know, how soon I get these done. And, you know, I'm just taking some time off camera to get some work on these done. Oh. One too many. That's where it stops. There, and then while I'm here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Note to self. Rain makes some small amount of lag. As you can see, I'm right near the water. I think my computer is still doing quite respectably, all things considered. So, you know, no complaints. Oh, bother. There we go. And soon it'll be going back to stone. I've been having to deal with a sizable amount of work and work-related stresses, as well as some home-related ones. Learned what I feel is a simple lesson in terms of family and making sure that your wishes are respected not terribly long ago. See, one of the reasons I'm having an unpleasant amount of extra drama in my life is that I live with family ever since I moved back north from Florida. Because, you know, New Jersey, it's expensive. Had difficulty with a roommate while I was down there. That resulted in me needing to head back home. Suffice to say, one of us was paying rent, and the other was not me. And this resulted in me being saddled with a number of problems, which resulted in me having to head back home and seek help from family. And that's one nice thing about family. Family is when you have a dependable family, when your family cares and is willing to put themselves out for you, they tend to try and help you as best they can. So I've been staying with family for the past about year and a half, year and 3/4. Trying to rebuild my finances, get some things in my life back on track. And all was going, well, I won't say well, I still have my problems, of course, but, you know, things were at least starting to go forwards with that. And my grandmother cracked her pelvis. Now, unfortunately, my grandmother is just recently 88. Very absent-minded. It's just plain old age, you know. Mine simply isn't what it used to be in her case. And I suspect we might be dealing with early onset dementia, that sort of thing. She's just not as all up there as she used to be. As such, general power of attorney went to a different family member. Not sure exactly why. Some of this may have been already set up. Some of this may be recent. I'm not sure there. But as a result, my grandmother is going to be living in an assisted living home, which means unfortunately, that her assets need to be liquidated. Which, to be blunt, is kind of bad news for anyone who is living with her, because one of the assets that need to be liquidated is the house that we were living in. That, needless to say, is inconvenient. I try to look on the bright side. I mean, thankfully, we're not dealing with the loss of our grandmother in addition to the loss of our home, but the result is that we're very abruptly trying to find new living situations. I'm not so much worried for myself, I admit. I'm more worried for my other family members. Basically, there were four of us living together. My father and stepmother, my grandmother, whose house it was, and myself. I was pretty much the only fully able-bodied person living in the household, followed next runner-up by my stepmother, who, while not physically considered to be disabled or anything like that, I think some of the logics on that are more semantics than anything else. Side subject. I've often had a very simple thing in terms of whether or not you are mobility impaired. I'm gonna see if I can change a little something on the video. Frame rate, yeah, that's fine. Particles, that's fine. Render distance, no, keep it at 16. So texture is fine. Guess I'll leave it as is. Don't mind the smooth line. Anyway, one last thing. Mip-map levels? I don't know what that is. Just leave it as is. Oh, that was interesting. Hope that didn't distort the recording sound much. There we go. Just keep going. I'm getting a little lag. Nothing major. It's the rain, you know. No worries. But as I was saying, though, I have a very simple a very simple test in my case as to whether or not I feel someone is mobility impaired or not. It's a very simple, standard test. Go outside, take a brisk walk around the block. If you can do that and come back and not feel winded and wheezing and like you need to sit down, like this was a major physical task, if you can do that and not have that happen, then congratulations, you are not mobility impaired. If you do that, if you either can't do that, or you can, but you come back and sorry, I genuinely made myself cough. But you come back and it's like, oh my, oh, then you're mobility impaired. Sorry, hate to burst your bubble, but you are mobility impaired. If that is your story, then yeah, that's what you is. I keep hearing bats dying. It disturbs me a little. Make some more pickaxes. Going with iron for now, since I seem to have a reasonable amount of iron available to me. I see plenty of iron I have yet to even harvest in the walls, ceiling. So, I should be okay. Throw that in there. There, that's where I was, okay. Yeah, like I said, that seems a reasonable and simple test. Mobility, balance, endurance, and ability to actually move. I'm not saying you need to be able to, run the New York Marathon, but you should be able, if you're not impaired in your mobility, you should be able to take a brisk walk around the block and not feel like you just really, really, really exerted yourself. Now, if you can't do that, there's no shame in it. There will come a time when everyone starts off impaired in their mobility. Because you show me a newborn baby who can do that? Yeah, no. And everyone ends impaired in their mobility. Because eventually old age and the ravages of time and all of that catch up with you. I'm just going to get this prepared. The next one is 3, so... yeah, like that. Alright, there's the next spot. Let's trim this out. Yeah, there we go. So, my stepmom is in that category. She can take that brisk walk around the block, I think, but she'll come back feeling like she just ran a marathon. Poor lady. So, yeah, mobility impaired. My father is in a wheelchair. My grandmother is a almost 90-year-old octogenarian who walks with a walker very slowly. So, and that was, before she broke her pelvis. So, it made it so that it was basically just me doing it for a lot of the chores. And that, by the way, was why I'd gone on such a long hiatus. For those who are following me and wondering what the heck happened to poor Mikey, that is what happened. Now, my dad is, well, he's still severely impaired, but, he's able to function more for himself, wheel himself around, get up and down the stairs by himself, which is why I'm having a little more time to do some of these things. But, more importantly, this also has brought the fact with, like I said, with the liquidation of assets, that we need to move, and we're working on that as well. Now, I'm not worried about myself, though. I am not impaired of mobility. I have a job, even if it doesn't pay me hugely, and I have an open offer with my brother to rent a spare room in his house from him, and in return he gets a bit of extra income. I get my space. He gets a babysitter when he needs it. Because I gotta tell you, my little almost 2-year-old niece is absolutely adorable, and tiny, and ittle. So I'm not worried there. Heck, he owes me a couple favors anywhere where that's concerned. There's a number of things in his house in terms of electronics and a couple furniture things, which are mine from when I moved from Florida, and I'm openly letting him use it because. Better in use than sitting in a basement getting moldy. So, I don't worry for myself. It's for my other family members that I worry. My grandma. Because I know this much. She never wanted to spend the rest of her life in a retirement home. She lived in this house that we're living in for over 50 years, and she expected to die in this house. She never intended to leave it. I don't think she has a living will giving any legal pre-instructions to someone with general power of attorney in terms of making sure that those wishes are respected. So instead, they're simply doing what they feel is in her best interest. Now, I can't say that they're necessarily wrong, but I'm quite certain that she would never have wanted what's going on to happen. She'd never wanted the house sold while people were still trying to move out of it. She'd never have wanted to have spent her life in a retirement home. Well, that was almost lightning. I know what happened. Sound effect got preempted by that spider and that slime we hear. But you guys get what I'm saying. She never would have wanted any of this. It's just her mind is far enough gone from old age and possible dementia. I'm not sure there, but it's far enough gone that she has no recollection. She doesn't know what's happening, and even if she did, she won't remember it the next day. Not at first. That's sad and unfortunate, but the overall of everything else is its own way just as, if not more sad. Get these in there. Yeah, there we go. And that. Those stay, and that goes there. It's very unfortunate, it really is. And it's taught me a lesson. And like I said, I'm quite certain that this is not what she would have wanted. Even if it is necessarily what's best for her. Now, I'm not sure it's not. Not sure it is. Let me head topside really quick. It's impressed upon me the importance of not just, a last will and testament, but even more so, If you want to make sure your wishes are respected, you need to make sure that something's in writing, notarized, and legal, saying, this is what I want. Uh-oh. Away with you? away. Is it already almost sundown? I have the worst luck ever, seriously. Oh, yeah, there's iron in here. Cool. Gotta remember that. Picked myself a happy little island. Surrounded by canopied forest with giant mushrooms, pigs, and vines. But, yeah, it's just made it all the more obvious to me why it's so important. So very important. To not just have a last will and testament, but to make sure you've got something formally in writing that guarantees that your wishes will be kept. I mean, a lot of this wouldn't be happening if Grandma had something in writing specifically saying, these are the actions I am okay with, these are the actions I'm not. This is what I do want, this is what I do not. I mean, I wish she had something like that now. Something that would basically tell these family members who are trying to act in her best interests that she did not regard this as her best interests. Wow. Sorry for the morbid talk. The third episode, no less. It's just on my mind since, I have to consider relocation and moving. I figure out what to do with my family. How to help them out, because, they took me in when I was having difficulties. How could I just abandon them when they're having difficulty? That's... Heck, just make me a very poor and pitiful human being to do that. It's one thing if I can't do anything, but, human decency says I gotta try. As the sad, mournful music of night begins playing. Well. I'll keep plugging away at this, guys. I'll have some finished results to show you guys next time. And we'll see you guys on the flip side. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.